So ruining your life can be a lot easier than you think. Um, this is coming from my experience and my personal things. I'm not gonna get too deep into certain things, but I feel like I made a lot of mistakes in my early 20s, even before my 20s. I made a lot of mistakes growing up, and essentially, I'm gonna just go one by one and just talk about certain experiences that I feel like you should avoid, that I know will set you back in life. So number one is the most basic one. So, like I said, not getting too deep into everything, but when I was 18, I ended up getting into some legal trouble, and it still sets me back a lot. Because having a record. I mean, me personally, I've always heard like people say, never get a record; it'll hold you back, and now I'm realizing that that is really true. That even as time passes and you grow, and you go through some new experiences, it still finds a way to haunt you. I remember like trying to get good jobs, and I was companies that wanted me, and just due to my record, like I wasn't able to get certain jobs that I wanted or get into a good company or along those lines. And I mean, at the end of the day, those are mistakes that I made, so there's no one to hold accountable other than myself. Things like that, like I'm saying, that can hold you back real fast, especially in your early years. Like I said, I made a mistake when I was 18, and I'm 24 now, and it's been about 6 years, and even now to this day, it holds me back, or people look at me a certain way because of my past and whatnot. And that's only because I was hanging around people that I shouldn't be hanging around with, and I got into certain situations that I had no business getting into. Number two, I would say, is surrounding yourself with people you have no business surrounding yourself with. There's a lot of people, and I feel like, instead of, like, for me personally, instead of trying to fit in and do what the other kids were doing and just trying to do stuff like I said that I had no business doing, it set me back a lot. Now that I'm older and I'm a little bit wiser now, and just through my experiences, I know, like, at the end of the day, like, that stuff doesn't matter, and you should just be around people that have the same interests as you, that care about you, will always support you no matter what, and lead you in the right direction. No matter what. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people don't like to hear when like me personally, I don't like to hear when I'm doing something bad, or if I'm, messing up or screwing up certain situations in my life. And having people around you, whether it's friends or family, that hold you accountable and hold you to a standard where they'll tell you no matter how you feel or how you'll get, and they'll let you know, hey, you're screwing up. You know what I mean? And it's always good to have people like that around you, instead of having knuckleheads around you, people that are gonna get you in trouble, people that are gonna get you in situations you have no business doing. And I know, for like us, like, we'll make excuses for these people, but at the end of the day, like, when shit really hits the fan, I can guarantee you that maybe out of all those groups of people, or all those people that you thought would be there for you, I guarantee you maybe one or two, if that, will actually be there for you. Majority of the time, no one will ever have your back like they say they do. You'll know these people that are genuinely caring for you. You'll know. This one's not really from personal experiences, but I feel like, taking out credit cards pretty early on. I know, like, I was just telling someone the other day, like, I feel like when you get a credit card and you get that balance, they make it seem like it's your money. Trust me, it's not your money. Do your best to, if you're gonna get a credit card, do some research, do some financing stuff, and make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into before you start going and spending this money, because it's not your money. Credit card places, they make it seem like it's your money, and they make you feel like, oh, if you spend this money, we'll reward you with this. Trust me, it's not worth it. Try to stay out of debt as much as possible. Make good financial decisions. You don't want to be 20 years old with like $40,000 in debt. Trust me, that is a horrible thing to do. And I feel like that's a pretty basic, straightforward one. Stay out of debt. Stay away from debt. Stay away from credit cards. And if you are, live within your budget, and you'll be fine. Another thing I would say that would ruin your life pretty quick is having an addiction. It could be literally anything. It doesn't have to be, like drugs or anything, or alcohol. But I feel like having any type of addiction pretty early on will ruin your life. I feel like, regardless, any type of addiction is bad. That's why it's an addiction. Nothing like that is good. But definitely, it takes control of your life. And if you don't get that under control, it will, and I cannot stress this enough, it will destroy your life quick and fast, even when you don't think it will. And at the end of the day, you won't notice it, but the people around you will notice it. Nobody's going to want to be around you. And while you're sitting there making excuses, everybody else's life is moving forward. And that is one of the fastest ways I feel like that will ruin your life. I've seen people with all types of addictions, and I've seen their life change within months, sometimes within weeks. I've seen people's lives change drastically within a year. And I'm talking about not from my own personal experiences, but from what I've seen with friends, family. I've seen all types of addictions just rip people's lives apart. You know, people lose their friends, people lose their lives, their jobs, their financial security. People lose all types of things when they're in some type of addiction that they just can't shake. And that is I one of the few things I would recommend too, avoiding. Control yourself, control your addictions, keep everything at bay, keep everything at ease. I feel like being at a young age too, we don't really know what delayed gratification is. I feel like when we're young, all we want is everything at the palm of our hands now, now, now. And I feel like that destroys your life as well, pretty young, because you're gonna go around living life and living in the real world, expecting everything to be handed to you and expecting everything to be done right then and there. You will end up giving up easier once you do certain things that you feel like should have an effect right then and there. And when you finally get that wake up call and you finally realize, hey, you know what, maybe life is not like this, it could hold a certain detriment to you and to other people around you, because if you go around life thinking that everything should be handed to you, it's not the way it's going to be. And trust me, you will get into situations where you're always constantly arguing with people and having lots of disagreements. And like I said, you're going to think that, in a way, you're going to think everybody owes something to you. And let me tell you, that's not how life is. If you want something, you got to go out there and get it. And if you expect someone and something to come to you and give that to you, it's never going to happen. Eventually life's going to flash quick before your eyes, and you're going to be 40, 50 years old, and you're going to wonder, where the hell did my life go, and why did it end up like this, and why did nothing ever happen to me? But to me, I feel like those are the few couple things that will ruin your life pretty quick, especially in your 20s. If you don't really get none of this stuff in check or in control, it will ruin your life pretty quick. Like I said, some of this was from my personal experiences, some of this was just based off what I believe and what I think will do to your life. You know, I'm not too much older. I'm still in my 20s, but I've made a lot of mistakes growing up, and I made a lot of poor choices. And, you know, if there's a way for me to stop or help people or help them see that some of these situations they're in, if they're in the same situations that they're hearing in this video, then that's what I'll do. So at the end of the day, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Like I've said in my previous videos, I read every comment. I try to reply to the best of my ability. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.